What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Frustrated Grad podcast. I'm your host, Zach Hughes, the black dude with bad news, welcoming you to the first podcast recorded in 2017.
It feels so different than 2016.
Yeah. So how is 2017 going for you so far? Co-host, writer, Tony Hoffman.
It feels pretty much like it did in 2016, which is just a week ago. I vacuumed earlier this week, so my living room floor is clean.
Yes, starting off the new year right.
Exactly.
Just as you should. So
I'm surprised, Zach, that you're not participating in the no pants subway ride that's happening in major cities across the globe.
Well, that involvement would include me leaving the house, so that's one of my prime motivating factors of not doing it.
Oh, so you're a lazy bastard? Okay.
Yes.
I can relate.
That's my MO all the way.
Yeah. I think you asked me about it earlier this week. Like I did it like 3 years ago, just because I just wanted to see what, just do it in one of those I guess I don't want to say bucket list thing, but like one of those like why not things. And
Yellow.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, yeah, it was more dudes than women, as you would.
Yeah, I would expect that for that type of situation. A lot of men would go in hoping that's
exactly
would be a meet cute for their grandkids, where they would tell them one day,
funny story.
I met your grandmother
on the pissy red line.
Yeah. The train smelled of piss. It was a gloomy, rainy Chicago morning.
No, cold. Yeah, I would say more like a cold 20-degree Sunday.
Yeah, I spotted her frostbitten bottom from across the car, and I could tell that she would be mine.
Yeah, well, the train car filled with all the other people who were clothed and looked at us like we were crazy.
Yeah, it's just romantic to even think about. So,
not really.
I understand the enthusiasm of some of the young men who are participating in that event. Is that going on today or was it yesterday?
Today.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it always it starts like everyone meets up like up north, and then just get on the red line and just from like stop to stop. Just take off your pants until you get to like I think like Roosevelt, and everybody meets up and then sings crap and takes pictures, and then goes all the way back up to like goes all the way back up north at like Potbellies or wherever the after gathering is.
Well, that sounds like a fun time.
Yeah, I know I'm making it sound so desirable.
I wonder, like, how did this start? Who came up with this idea? Do you know?
I think it was like some guy named Justin Herdesty.
Okay.
I know like the whole thing was started by like the Improv Elsewhere, like they're like some improv troupe based out of New York, and then they'd started there, and then it goes from like then it became like an international thing where like it happens in like major cities like London and Toronto, Chicago, Boston, New York, etc.
Okay. Yeah, because I just thought it seemed like some weird one-time thing. So it's interesting that it's a tradition now.
I think the whole purpose is just like, oh, if people need to like lighten up, let's do this weird thing to freak people out. Or
I guess so. Like, does it ever get like shut down? Because I would think that like police would not.
It's not a nudity.
I mean, it's not nudity, but it seems like some people wouldn't be cool with it. But I guess
there's
all
no
good.
Law breaking.
I mean, it's Trump's America, so the standards have definitely changed in general. So I guess this is going to be nothing compared to some of the other things we may see going forward.
Did you see Mariah Carey at the New Year's, Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve?
Yeah, it was funny because we previewed this on our last podcast, and I didn't know that the performance would be as noteworthy as it was going to be when we were talking about it beforehand. So that whole thing is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm
But
sure anybody watching right now already knows what we're talking about, but uh, yeah, Mariah's performance pretty much went to shit.
yeah, she didn't even have any
Very.
ice cream this time, like she did on TRL. What, 15, 14
I
years ago.
I don't even remember this one. What happened with the TRL
I
thing?
think she was like she was promoting. I think it was that stupid movie Glitter or
Oh yeah,
something,
I
and
remember that.
she went on TRL and she had like an ice cream cart and she was like acting all like weird and stuff and
Okay.
like it's like it definitely seemed like something was a little off. I think that was like the first time she started to exhibit like bizarre behavior and
Signs of
stuff.
dementia
Yeah,
or
like
whatever, or
Carson Daly is
disorder.
all weird. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure this will be a great episode of Mariah's World. Um, and it was interesting.
which I could never get through a minute of that. Like I think I was just
I
flipping the
tried one
channels
episode.
yesterday, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but I feel like I saw a headline that said Mariah's people were uh, accusing the producers of this,
Of sabotaging.
yeah, of sabotaging her performance for ratings. But the thing is, like, I when I first saw that, I was thinking like, oh, maybe they're talking about Mariah's World producers. Like that would make sense if they were involved in the performance somehow. That they wanted to make a good episode of their reality show, so they sabotaged her performance. But they were accusing NBC, who was doing the live
Or
broadcast,
ABC.
or ABC, of who was doing the live broadcast of sabotaging them. But I was like, well, they can't really get much of a ratings bump from it as it's happening live because they can't
Exactly.
promote that. Like, oh, this show is going to complete shit. Tune in now. It's like, I guess you could tweet that out, but
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't believe they would have
It's
done that.
publicity for this once a year show.
Yeah, after the fact, it's like everybody heard about it. Like, I, I saw a clip of the show I probably spent the most time watching, sadly enough, was the Anderson Cooper and
Kathy
Kathy
Griffin,
Griffin New Year's countdown
Don
show.
Lemon shit show.
Yeah. So like I saw a clip of like somebody reporting that to Kathy Griffin. She's like, really? What happened? It's like they're actively talking about
Yeah.
another
Competitors.
show like having a complete meltdown. So that was interesting to see that. But like,
I heard like the issue was that like they played like the wrong like backing track. Like she was supposed to like lip sync only like the really like the difficult parts where she has to hit the high notes, but
okay,
they played like the backing track where she basically had to sing like most of it or
yeah.
something, and yeah, and obviously she can't hit those high notes anymore. So
Yeah, and it's weird because I've heard multiple things. Like I heard that was one of the issues, and she was just like got off track with it. And then also I heard that like the little monitor earpieces that they wear during the performance, those weren't working. And they said that in the one article I read that she told people about it beforehand. They was like, oh yeah, we're gonna fix it and just go out there.
yeah,
So
this is like Kennedy in the Zapruder films. Like
yeah, like
so many theories.
yeah, like she pulled out the
JFK.
earpiece and pushed it back and to the
Mm.
left. Like so the whole
But
thing was just
but none of this would be
shit
an
show.
issue if she actually just sang the damn song live.
The problem is with that though is that I understand the issue. Like, okay, if it was just the issue with the backing track and she didn't keep up or whatever, like, okay, that's just like, okay, you should either learn to perform live or don't perform at all. But like, I understand the monitor thing because, like, I could imagine that being on that stage and you hear like all the noise of New York Times Square that you could possibly not actually hear the music because it's being broadcast to the audience in front of you and in this big area, but you might not hear it exactly as you need to sing with it. So either way, it really was a bad look. But I guess they'll reap the benefits of this 3 months from now when they're reality show catches up to
Yeah,
that
I was
point.
gonna say like if anything, the only show that benefited from this whole thing was her little stupid reality show.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That is the show where I could say, okay, maybe those producers sabotage because they can actually promote it. Like coming up, the episode you've been waiting for, Mariah's New Year's meltdown. So I could see that one being a big ratings booster sometime soon. To me, it reminded me of like Total Divas with the whole
Yeah,
Daniel
the whole
Bryan
Daniel
retirement
Bryan
and all
and
that stuff. It's
yeah.
like yeah, I remember this when it was actually happening. Now, now all of the other women who know the divas from this show and not from wrestling, they're gonna all learn about Daniel Bryan's retirement. Um,
It's weird, like all of that like New Year's Eve stuff. Like I wasn't watching any of it on TV. I was just following it on like social media, like
yeah,
as was happening, the Mariah stuff, the Don Lemon stupid ass ear piercing thing, and
what was
everything
that?
else. Where he got his like ear pierced. He was allegedly he was like drunk, Don Lemon, because he had been like drinking like during the broadcast, and then
All
he got like
right.
his ear he got his ear pierced live on CNN or
See,
something.
those are the things I miss when I switch over to Netflix. So I guess I will have to go back and revisit that. But I guess that should be enough of the New Year's Eve talk. We are pretty far removed from that at this point.
Did you watch the new Apprentice with Arnold with Arnie
The
this
Arnold,
past
as
week?
some people
Yeah.
are calling him now, instead of
A
the
lot of
Donald.
people didn't. They were too busy watching the Bachelor. I
Yeah,
watched neither. So
yeah. I joined the camp of neither. Yeah, I didn't watch it. Apparently, it had low ratings, and you know what happens when things involving or somewhat referential to Donald Trump uh, get attention for negative reasons is that you get that tweet storm.
yeah, the little junior high student girl that he is gets
Yeah.
on Twitter to tweet it.
Yeah, so what exactly was his complaint? He just basically bashed Arnold
He just
for
bragged about
being the reason
yeah.
that the show was dropped in ratings.
I would assume I didn't actually read the
Yeah,
tweet like I do most of his tweets. I don't care.
yeah,
So
that's the problem. Is that like his tweets have started to become news, so it kind of discredits the entire news cycle as a whole.
when you're watching like CNN and you see at
Yeah,
the bottom of the news crawl that Trump tweets blah blah blah, just
yeah,
like the word tweet in the fucking on the screen.
yeah. It that is like part of our world now, and it reminds me so much of like how everybody has compared this recent election to the show Black Mirror, and how it shows like this bleak view of society and how technology is taking us down a dark path. Have you seen Black Mirror?
No, but I've heard of the premise and good things
Yeah,
about it.
it's a great show. The episode they reference the most is the Waldo Movement, and it's sorry to spoil it, but I mean,
The Waldo
yeah,
movement.
a cartoon bear was basically like just this like raunchy, foul mouth talking cartoon character. He assumes political power in a major way because uh, the person like who's voicing it is just like their like platform or whatever is that they're an outsider and that all politicians are garbage and like sounds like this very progressive voice from the outside and people latch on to that. So it's funny to see it like okay we've had Donald Trump who's kind of reflecting those sentiments and in the show as well as what even like in the show it starts off with good intentions but this like with this cartoon thing becoming more and more popular they start to use it as a conduit for getting a darker message out there. So it's funny that Trump has had somewhat similar rise to power but he like never started with good intentions, so that's
Hmm.
the worst part of it is like reality is much worse than the fiction that it's reflecting.
I had an opportunity to go to the McCormick place yesterday and get a ticket for Obama's
Oh, so you
farewell
you
speech.
you were one of the lucky few.
No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
okay. So
no.
you just you,
I assumed it was going to be like crowded as hell and sell out quickly, which it did. So
okay. All right. Well,
that's
darn. That
tomorrow.
there
Yeah,
goes our frustrated grad podcast exclusive. That's gone.
yeah. Why didn't you go?
Um, I have this thing that you call a crippling fear of public
Yeah, me ditto. Yeah,
crowds.
exactly.
Uh, yeah,
Especially that situation. Shit, you can only imagine.
yeah. Anytime something says first come first serve,
You
I
know
know
that's
that
just
yeah, I'm probably out of the contention for that because I'm usually the last to arrive. Um,
that's gonna be tomorrow night.
yeah, tomorrow night. Actually,
I assume
it
that'll be
says the
broadcast
time.
everywhere.
Or yeah, that's definitely going to be on multiple channels. Um, so yeah, it's going to be January 10th. I don't see a time on there, but
7 or 8,
yeah,
you would
I would
assume.
assume
Central,
prime
Eastern.
time,
Yeah.
Obama time, prime time. It's like I watched. I guess it will be his last press conference. It was shortly before the end of the year last year, and like even now, it's just gonna be like, oh, this is actually happening. Like he's leaving. Oh shit! Like
Yeah, the
it's
reality sinks in. Yeah, I got the 11 days.
yeah. The one thing that I don't even know relieved about, or the one thing that I'm just picturing out of this is that at least we can stop saying like President Elect Trump, like just to get that extra like prefix out
You
of the
you
way.
actually want it to be official?
I don't want it to be official, but I want to stop that correction of the well actually people of being like President elect Trump. It's like I can say President Trump is a piece of shit instead of saying President Trump is a piece of shit. Somebody says President elect Trump. Like, yeah, whatever. Uh,
Neither sounds very
they don't sound good,
relieving.
but at least it can shorten some of my angry tweets that will be forthcoming.
Yeah, those 140 characters.
Yeah. So that's something. this is this is uh like that
There
was
was
the
a some. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say like there was a this link to I guess Mark Hamill was
Yeah.
reading Donald Trump's tweets as the Joker.
Yeah, it was
I haven't
interesting.
I haven't actually heard it.
Yeah, it's anybody out there I was thinking of playing it during the podcast, but I feel like I should direct everybody to the source and check out Mark Hamill's Twitter. And he's posting these audio clips of just reading individual tweets of Donald Trump as the voice of Joker from the
Batman
one
the
you would know
animated
from the
series,
Batman
the
animated
best
series.
Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, really, like a lot of people would list their different like on-screen Jokers, and it's like you have to mention that one because I feel like I mean it's the most prolific one, and it was just one of the
Yeah.
best deliveries.
All the
Period.
Arkham video games too.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing
Yeah,
that Mark
yeah,
Hamill just decided to do.
you can pretty much just imagine because I mean just the Joker's voice and all the
Yeah.
horrible Trump tweets.
Yeah, and they they sound eerily appropriate. Like, oh yeah, this this totally makes sense coming out of this voice. So that's an interesting thing to check out on Twitter. Another thing I've noticed on Twitter is just a tangent. There's more and more like live video aside from like the ability to stream like just straight from your um, Twitter account, which is what I'm doing as we're recording this podcast. There's a lot of like live video being promoted on Twitter if you go to the website. Like during the CES coverage, there's like the Verge, their Verge cast or whatever is like promoted on the side. So it's an interesting thing that Twitter is getting into. They're kind of trying to be like a live streaming video service where you can basically just comment live. Like they're like periscopifying the whole website. So that's an interesting development.
Yeah, I know that whenever you can like share your like Periscope broadcast on like Twitter,
Yeah.
just it's either like I think it's not a link. It's like the actual broadcast you
Yeah,
can watch on Twitter.
yeah, that's one thing I've noticed now is that they're kind of it's a weird thing to think about. It's kind of like they're phasing out Periscope, but also like swallowing it up themselves because they still show like the Periscope logo or whatever, like saying that it's powered by Periscope, but it's basically just like Twitter streaming. That's like they're rebranding it as Twitter Live, like Facebook Live. So that makes it more seamless, so I don't have to have an extra app on my phone because Periscope took up space that I didn't necessarily have on my Android phone with
Yeah,
limited
man.
storage. So that's an
I mean,
interesting thing. Is it adds a shortcut for me.
if you broadcast like do like a live broadcast on Periscope, it just sucks up your battery too.
Yeah, that's why. Like I had Periscope briefly on a previous phone before this phone I have now, but it was just like I wouldn't even consider actually streaming because then my phone would get hot. I just got it
Yeah,
to watch other people's Periscope, but now
fucking
I can
skin
do that on
on your
Twitter.
palm melting.
Yeah. So that's cool that this is all a seamless experience now.
Speaking of social media, on Instagram, there's this a very cool Instagram account that I saw from this news story. A woman who had her foot amputated due to cancer. She's kept like the foot, like the
Okay.
skeleton of her foot,
Okay.
and she has it like in like pictures and stuff on Instagram
That's
posts.
so weird.
I, I'll read the story for you. When Crystal Loyal told her doctor she wanted to keep her foot, he thought she was joking. In 2011, 25-year-old Loyal noticed that her pinky toe was going numb, and after numerous doctor visits and surgery to have a bump removed from her foot, the doctors told her that she had cancer in her foot and lower leg in April. She had it amputated a week later, but she asked the doctor if she could keep the foot. So in
It's a souvenir.
these Instagram photos, you can see like photos of like a kid, like a little baby, like holding like the skeletal, like every the foot and like the, I guess like everything below the knee.
Wow.
Like it's kind of like
So is the foot like straight bones or is there like muscles still
no,
remaining or skin?
it's pure like bone.
Oh, so she requested to keep the foot, but did she have the doctors do all that to just like fillet it clean, or did she do that herself after the fact?
I assume the doctors did that.
Because I'm assuming like, I mean that's still weird because like to them it's just like biohazard trash. I'm assuming so
Yeah,
like
exactly.
for somebody to request to keep it, this is actually giving the doctor a lot of extra work to do. But
The Instagram account is at 1 foot wander.
all right, it's interesting because I thought I was looked at weird when I asked to keep my tooth when I had it removed last year. They looked at me like, "What?" It's just like, "Yeah, I want to keep it. What's wrong with that?" It was
I don't
I
even think
have
I had that option. I think I should have asked, but
yeah I just asked because I knew I wanted it and I wanted to see what it looked like after they pulled it out because I had actually I guess it was two teeth removed. There was one that was all broken up when they pulled it out because they had to. I had one tooth that was basically like wrapped around the other one because
hmm
I guess it was a filling that came out and then it just cracked and everything was wisdom tooth was pushing them together. But
yeah.
yeah,
This is weird because she has like a photo of like her foot like before. It was like a throwback Thursday photo of like before
only
the
'90s kids will remember my foot. Uh,
exactly like before it got removed, and so you can see like it's all like bandaged and bruised and kind of like gangly looking.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
Well,
like the last living photo of her foot is
well,
what
it's
she
good
has.
she got rid of that thing then.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's nice to see that she's got a sense of humor about it
Yeah,
and
it's
turning
nice to have a good spirit about things. Maybe I should start
apples into
Instagramming
oranges.
my old dead tooth. I finally decided to put it in a cup of bleach because it looked gross. So hopefully, I need to check on that probably after this podcast is over, see how it's coming along. Maybe it's
Sure,
finally white.
hopefully. Hey, I have a question for you, Zach.
What's
Do
that?
you love do you love potato chips?
Uh, I'm indifferent towards potato chips. My wife really likes potato chips, so that's the only reason they're in this house. So now I eat them, but I wouldn't go out and buy them myself.
Do you ever try to eat some of your wife's potato chips while she's eating them,
Like out of her mouth.
like out
Uh,
of the bag?
no. Usually we just get like the
Oh,
big
okay.
bags, and I put them like on a plate, and then we eat
Oh,
them.
okay. Well, I have this story from England. A woman stabbed her lover with a knife following a meal with friends because he ate all of her potato chips.
Now
Uh,
that's somebody who loves potato chips.
Diane Margaret Clayton, 34, of Blackburn, Lancashire, was at her friend's house with her boyfriend, Simon Hill, when an argument started about who had eaten up all of her chips. Clayton got so
All right.
annoyed that there were no more chips left. She grabbed a kitchen knife and stabbed Mr. Hill in his shoulder. The 34-year-old admitted the assault and was jailed for 26 weeks at Blackburn's court yesterday.
Well, now I have a question. You said Lincolnshire, so is this in the UK somewhere?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when they say chips, I think they actually mean like what we would call French fries. So,
Uh, I think that they actually mean like actual chips,
but they
like American
they would say
chips.
crisps, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but this is like in a American
Okay, so if they
newspaper.
actually mean
Yeah,
chips, then I feel like that's an overreaction. But if it was over French fries, then I would side with the
yeah.
stabber in this scenario because I wouldn't stab you over potato chips, but
That's a
maybe
lot of
over
work.
some French fries.
Yeah, like deep frying those things and cutting them up and yeah.
Yeah, homemade fries. That's
But
yeah, I'll cut
have
you
you
over
ever
those.
been? Have you ever been in a situation like that where?
A stabbing situation.
No, I mean where. Well, we'll talk about that later. But a
Yes.
situation where, where someone you were angry that someone ate your food or drink or
Oh
whatever, and
yeah, I was in a
who ate my M&M?
potential stabbing situation at a I'll I'll be vague about it and say at a former workplace where we had like, I mean, I guess you would call them coworkers. Kind of, we didn't work together, but there was like a shared refrigerator
Oh, one of those
space,
situations.
and I
Okay.
had a parfait that I bought from Pete's Fresh Market.
Why? How the hell does that even happen? Where somebody eats somebody else's lunch in the damn refrigerator? Like
It,
these
you know the explanation for that? It's
what?
some people are fucking assholes.
This like because it's not
uh,
yours, and someone's gonna get angry, and it's like
yeah,
it's just
and I came very close to punching someone at work. I was like, wait, so like, did you just eat my parfait? Is that actually what happened? They're like, oh, I'm sorry. So I had to pull myself back and
it's, so,
um and
just opened
without,
up their refrigerator and just ate some random food that wasn't that they didn't pay for.
yeah, it was a very annoying situation, and it was one of those situations like, again, without being too specific, it was undeniably that person because it's like a late shift and there was only two of us in the building. So I don't
The
know if this person assumed that
law of
the
averages.
yeah, I don't know if this person assumed like, oh, maybe I can get away with this because this parfait, maybe somebody who worked earlier in the day put it there, but it's like I literally had just put it in there less than an hour prior, and then I come back and it's gone. I was like, son of a bitch.
In every job situation, every job I've had, in the current one, I don't even utilize a refrigerator.
Yeah, I
I
stopped.
never put.
I
I never
stopped
did that.
immediately after that. I had to bring in a big like cooler bag.
Because there's no way to protect unless you have it with you all the time.
Yeah, so that's what I just started doing. So that makes it difficult when you want to bring in like drinks and stuff that you want to keep cold, but some sacrifices have to be made when you work with animals.
Speaking of animals and people stealing food, a candy crazed squirrel steals sweets from a convenience store. Uh, it's actually multiple squirrels. A group of repeat offender squirrels with the nuts to steal candy bars from a Toronto convenience store.
Nice.
Um, that's the mission of Luke's grocery owner Paul Kim, who says the brash critters just waltz right in and take his candy. I always see them sneaking outside the door, looking in my store, and even right at me. Kim told the Toronto Star. It's like wow, like don't you think that they would have like I don't know, like some animal safety or
That's
animal.
that's the weird thing is like how do you keep squirrels out? Because I would assume any kind of preventative measures you would put in place for squirrels would make things like inconvenient for like your regular customers. Because like what do? You can't put like a baby gate or something because people have to walk in.
Yeah,
And squirrels can fit into any opening that you leave there, basically.
it's
So
weird because there's like actual picture of like the squirrel like eating like the. It says like they come in and they take Crunchies, Crispy Crunch, Wonder Bar. Kim says
yeah,
videos posted to the YouTube account. Stop that squirrel! Drop that bar! Show a pair of incidents involving the accused animals. The first is from October, and the second posted on Wednesday was reported in November. I think we've lost up to 48-ish bars this fall season, Kim's daughter Cindy told the Star. That's an extremely rough amount, though, because we have no way of knowing when we've been robbed. They're very sneaky. So these sneaky ass squirrels with a sweet tooth.
sneaky squirrel. It's squirrels actually are like very tricky. I've actually had squirrel problems at home, uh, because like I was having an issue where like like old food and like different like pastry items were showing up in my mailbox, and I was
Oh
really
yeah, I
worried
remember
about.
this.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago off air, but like I kept finding things in my mailbox like food and stuff. So I like set up a camera because it was like, okay, somebody's like putting stuff in my mailbox. It's so weird, and I found out that it was a squirrel, like a big fat ass squirrel too. Like, cause one time the first time I actually caught it, it wasn't even on the camera, but it was just like I heard like something drop in the mailbox because it's a metal mailbox and you can hear it. So then I looked outside really quick and just this huge squirrel was running off of my porch. I was like,
Baby got back.
yeah, I was like, this is the greediest squirrel I've ever seen because like the stuff that he's putting in there, like donuts. There was like a piece of chicken one time, a piece of pizza. So I was like, this squirrel must have diabetes, and
Raider.
he's using my mailbox as basically his refrigerator. So yeah, squirrels are little bastards, and I'm not a fan.
Rats in cuter suits, I've heard them described as.
Yeah, that's definitely like a a rat in disguise. Uh, but yeah,
Well,
not a fan.
well, Zach, I one of my New Year's resolutions was to find more poop stories. So
God damn it!
I'm
And I that was one resolution of the many I've heard in over this past week or so that
that
I
exact
knew
one.
was going to I knew it was going to pay off, and that was the one I feared the most.
Well, this one it's actually a cautionary tale. Plane drops poop on house and car residences. This happened in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Is this recent? Because I've heard of a few incidents of this.
Yeah, this happened this past week.
Okay.
While many Salt Lake City, Utah residents were busy cleaning up snow from their driveways Tuesday, Bethany Volker is busy trying to figure out how to clean up a much different kind of mess: human feces. It's disgusting, Volker says.
No shit.
Pun intended. Around
Yeah.
3 p.m. on Tuesday, Boker left to pick up her children from school. That's when she noticed the foul-smelling feces scattered all over her driveway and her car. At first, I thought,
Yuck.
wow, some bird really took a dump on my car, Volker said. She quickly realized she wasn't dealing with fecal matter of the bird variety. This is
No.
undeniable, Volker said. She came to the conclusion it was human waste. Then she realized this isn't the first time. That this has happened.
Like on her house specifically?
Let me see here, because I've clicked on the link to the news store and a segment to the news site. But yeah, I assume. Let me see here. She lives in. She recalls one time years ago seeing similar matter all over her property.
Really?
Volker believes it came from a commercial aircraft releasing the waste from the air at the wrong time.
That's
I
some
don't
pretty
know.
good aim for two different planes to drop feces
Yeah.
on your house. That's a
Bullseye.
lawsuit. Like, you probably don't even have to go to court. This woman is owed a major settlement.
She lives in West Jordan, south of Salt Lake International Airport, and it's not uncommon for her to see dozens of airplanes fly over her house daily. This time, she documented the dumping to report to the FAA. I just wanted to stop, Volker said. She received a statement from the FAA regional office. The FAA periodically receives reports of blue ice, frozen wastewater falling on a house. If the person can tell us, the FAA, exactly when and where it happened, we can try to run radar replays to see if an aircraft flew overhead around that time. We don't provide any advice on how to clean up blue ice. So
There should be some kind of somebody showing up to rectify this situation.
she needs to be compensated
Yeah,
for
absolutely, for
these
pain
shit.
and suffering, and somebody needs to
Mental
provide
anguish.
cleaning services for
Counseling.
her.
They need to provide counseling.
Yeah. So they Dave Matthews her with the plane.
Well, at least it was frozen. Shit. It wasn't like. I mean, it thawed out eventually,
Yeah,
but
I'm sure it thawed out pretty quickly after it was dumped. But yeah, that's no bueno.
yeah, I mean, it's human waste, Zach. I mean, it's just tough to get rid of. I mean, it's an issue that plagues us.
Yeah,
It's plagued humanity since the dawning of time.
yeah. It's always been something we've had to deal with, and it's pretty shitty situation.
Yeah, even with the advent of toilets, you flush it, and then the sewage, uh, pipes get burst, and entire streets can be filled with it.
It's just horrible. Let's move on. All right. There's your poop story for the week.
Thank you. So, did you watch anything on TV last night, or were you out socializing on a cold Saturday evening in the city?
No. As usual on a Saturday night, I was in home, cozy with the wife and the cat.
Sammy.
We were watching. Yeah, we watched quite a few things. We watched a couple episodes of Black Mirror.
Did you watch Bright Lights, the Carrie Fisher, Debbie Reynolds documentary?
No, I didn't even know it was on. I tried to watch a little bit of the Menendez brothers story. I realized it was 2 hours, and I was like, I know the story.
Well,
I'm
the
up to
Bright
speed.
Lights, the Bright Lights doc was only, I think, less than 90 minutes, so could have
right.
saved a half an hour.
So did you
Yeah,
check it out?
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was you get to see like the relationship between the two of them, how close they were. It documented sort of like Carrie and her life of going to conventions and like
Okay.
her while kind of like taking care of her mother Debbie Reynolds, who was like having some health issues, and it was basically like it was a perspective on like their family, like her father
Okay.
Eddie Fisher, and when the relationship that she had with her dad throughout her life, and leading up to like when he passed away, and it pretty much ends with like Debbie Reynolds was getting like a lifetime achievement award at the SAG Awards. I think it was like either last year or the year before last, and like the whole situation of like getting her prepared for that, because she wasn't feeling all that great
Yeah.
at the time, and like The sort of the toll that it took on Carrie and
It's
and
interesting.
everything else. But yeah, it was really, really fascinating and obviously more fascinating considering that they both passed away
Like within the
recently.
same week, right?
Yeah, within like I think 24 hours or so.
Yeah, that was the weirdest part of that whole situation. But it just seemed like the mom was
Yeah,
not
exactly. She
doing well,
wasn't,
just in general. So that
and
that
that probably just
pushed it
yeah,
over the edge.
exactly.
Yeah,
Sure.
I didn't even realize that one of my favorite Chanels from the show Scream Queens was actually Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Yeah, Billy. What's her name?
Yeah,
Billy
she has a
Ward
different
or
last name.
yeah, or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but she is Chanel number 3 on Scream Queens, which doesn't exactly make sense when you say it out of context. But if you watch the show, you understand there's a number of
Yeah.
different Chanels.
Yeah. Chanel number 5.
Yeah, Chanel number 5 is actually Abigail Breslin.
Yeah. So she's named after perfume. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they explained it in the first episode of the show. I think there was no Chanel number 4. There was Chanel number 2, Chanel number 3, and then Chanel number 5. It's just because they wanted to make sure there was a number 5. But yeah, so uh,
Did that show come back this week, or did they from their
Scream Queens.
hiatus? Or
I didn't see anything about a new episode, but I'm waiting for it. Like I binged the entire series basically over this holiday break because I was like kind of on the fence about it, but I got back into it and it just like went straight through it within a few days. So
yeah.
I'm hoping for it to come back soon.
One thing I noticed from that Carrie Fisher, Debbie Reynolds doc is that they drank lots of Coca-Cola, lots of
Really?
cans of Coke, and yeah, it's like they documented like her getting in shape for Star Wars: The Force Awakens when she has to fly there to London, and she has like a little like personal trainer like
Okay.
trying really hard to like get like for her to get in shape on like an elliptical machine, and like she was like a chain smoker, and she wasn't taking it at all that seriously.
Well, I'm
So
sure the trainer had a lot of work to do as far as getting her off of coke in
well that's
more ways than one.
she had been off of that for years.
All right.
But
Uh, one
yeah,
one writer would beg to differ. Because one of the articles I read, I think I talked about this before, they said 2016 isn't killing your favorite celebrities, it's drugs.
and
I was like,
drugs.
all right.
Yeah, that's kind of mean
Nice.
spirited, but
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I was like, well, this is an entire article about this. All right, great.
yeah. It was a guy from like Lucas Films that was like they had like she had to be in like in certain shape for the movie and everything.
I mean, with all the CGI that they're doing, why did she have to be? They could have used that plastic Princess Leia they used for Rogue One. I mean, I guess she had to be older, but they could have just aged that thing up. And that's the
Really?
interesting thing to think about. Like, I didn't read the article, but I saw a headline talking about how General Leia was meant to have a larger role in the Star Wars universe going forward.
She's in the. She already completed her filming for the next one.
Okay, so she's gonna be in that one, and I guess somehow they're gonna
They had a meeting this week
figure that out.
actually. It was actually because you brought that up. They Lucasfilms and the studio they had a meeting this week to decide where they go with her
Okay.
character beyond this next one that comes out in December. So
I mean, I guess it's kind of a Paul Walker type situation where it's like, I mean, there's a lot of incidents of this now because you got like Heath Ledger's the Joker, but he completed the entire movie. But I guess they're gonna figure out whether they want to just say off camera that something happened, or if they want to try to recreate something with CGI. I guess is the decision that has to be made, which is always weird. In like those are the things that get the most attention in these situations. It's like I remember way back on The Sopranos when the woman who played Tony Soprano's mom passed.
yeah, I know not exactly what you're
In
talking
the
about. What was her name?
I can't remember the actress' name, but there was a scene and I wasn't reading stuff on the
Season
internet about it.
3.
Yeah, but there was a scene where he was talking to her, and I noticed like throughout the scene, it looked like her head was superimposed on this body, and she was like saying things that like word for word that I had seen her say in previous episodes. It was like, that's odd. It looked like she wasn't actually there, and then I read up on it after the
Yeah.
fact. I was like, oh, this lady died recently. I
Fancy.
was like,
Yeah,
okay.
Nancy Merchant or Merchant.
Yeah, so it was a really
Yeah.
odd way that they dealt with it, but then they worked it into the story. Like, okay, she just died. So that's always a weird thing. Um,
I remember it being kind of like badly edited and put together when I
yeah,
saw it.
because it was like
Like
it
in
was
90
her
or
head
2001.
just moving around on this body that clearly was not the same body as what belonged to the head. So that's always the thing to deal with because like we already had an issue with the most recent Star Wars. They uh, created like a CGI version of a character who the actor was long dead, and the character of Grand Moff Tarkin, which there's like I feel like there was the most talk I heard about Rogue One was regarding just that CGI character. So I guess that's a thing they have to figure out for Episode 9. But I would consider this. I would say that they can work this into their benefit because maybe we should distance ourselves from all of these older characters because like that's
Yeah,
one of the
sure.
bigger complaints about Star Wars is that
Yeah,
this universe
I,
feels so small that the same people are
I'm not
evolving
sure like how
everything.
big of a role she was gonna have anyway.
Yeah, it
Like,
wasn't a very large role in Force Awakens, so I would
I mean,
assume it was getting smaller.
I assume that she would have been like a vital piece to the story, but not like someone who had needed to be in like in a whole bunch of scenes. And I mean, she is General Leia after all.
Yeah, so I would assume that the younger Jedi's and rebel soldiers are starting to step to the forefront. So hopefully this accelerates that process.
And hopefully, this next Star Wars film isn't just a remake of The Empire Strikes
Empire
Back,
Strikes
or
Back, yeah,
just say hopefully that's what I like so much about Rogue One is that it was a completely new and different story.
yeah, but that's gonna
It
be
didn't
the
have like the same beats, and it didn't have like the same transitions from scene to scene, and it didn't have the crawl at the beginning of the movie, or it didn't have as many characters that had to serve as the Star Wars episodes, if you will.
yeah. But that's the weird thing now is with the formula of how they've set up these movies that there's going to be one every year. Now we have a movie coming out almost a year from now where she's still going to be one of the principal actors is has passed. So that's going to be weird to see this a year from now. Be like, hey, that person died a year ago. But I guess when you plan out movies that far in advance, it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah. Have you, speaking of movies, are you interested? Have you seen any of the new movies that came out this weekend?
Now,
Or,
I haven't been to the theater yet. Have you?
I mean, there's really just nothing that I want to say. I mean, Hidden Figures, the new movie with Taraji P. Henson. It's a movie that I would like to see, but I don't know if I actually want to go to the movies to go see. It's
Yeah.
it's getting great reviews, but it's sort of like it's a it's not like a big budget,
Yeah, it's not something you
multi.
have to see on a big screen.
It
It's
definitely is sort of like, yeah, I'll rent that or watch that on you know Netflix or whatever, or if I
yeah,
get a bootleg or
yeah, because or if you have the Exodus app on Kodi or
yeah,
XBMC.
exactly.
But I think that like the trailers to me just made it. They were a little corny for my liking.
It got absolutely getting great reviews. I
Yeah,
understand exactly what you're saying. I kind of felt the same way about it too.
yeah. That's the one thing is that like one thing I have an issue with sometimes is that either like I feel like black actors get like funneled into like
The
certain
historical,
directions. It's like
yeah,
you're either playing somebody,
those are the only
just playing
prestige
a real
roles.
character
Yeah,
who's long dead, and they're like, oh, this story finally has to be told, or you're
it,
playing a slave, or
It can never
you're
be. It's never like an original character in the present day.
yeah,
It's
it's
always some like yeah.
yeah. That's
I
the
know
thing
what you're
is like
saying.
every black actor at some point has had to play either a slave or some kind of civil rights figure. Uh,
Fences, the movie with Viola Davis and Denzel Washington. That's
mhm.
another like period piece where
Yeah,
it's about the black struggle. And, you know.
yeah. I would like to just see. I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like there are some movies where it's just like black people being human beings, but I feel like there's not enough of those. It's like, hey, you're a black person. Your your character's motivation is
Yeah, it
he is
has to be part of
black.
the character. Exactly. I know
Yes,
exactly. It has to be like,
it's like
yeah, yeah. Hey,
like that.
there's a movie called Sleepless with a Jamie Foxx.
I feel like
I'm
that's the closest to being like okay, this is just a movie and black people are in it
exactly,
because it's
yeah.
basically Taken with Jamie Foxx.
He's an undercover Las Vegas police officer who finds himself caught up in a high-stakes web of corrupt cops, internal affairs, and murderous gangsters.
Yeah,
When a
and
failed heist leads to the kidnapping of his teenage son,
yeah,
Downs must race against time during a wild and restless night to save him and bring the criminals to justice.
yeah. That was the thing where I had mixed feelings about it. I was like, well, this is really just a ripoff of Taken, but then I was like, well, I like the fact that it's not about them being black and doing black things. It's just like,
Yeah,
okay, this is
exactly.
a story anybody could do.
This could happen to anyone, white
Yeah,
or
so I
black or
appreciate that
Asian.
part about it, but that's the problem though. Is like some of these more like the ideas that are more progressive as far as casting goes are still not like inspired as far as the writing in general. But I will take that over like a Medea movie any day of the
Exactly.
week. So I'll probably do that just for the support aspect of it.
So we're just saying if there was a black actor starring in this monster trucks movie instead of a white one, like that would be something that you would
Yeah, it'd be progressive because it would be like, oh,
this goofy looking piece of
it's
shit
a stupid
family movie.
movie, and this black person is the lead, but it has nothing to do with them being black. I would appreciate that, because like the only times you see things like that was like this black person can just be a person in the movie is like if it's somebody like Eddie Murphy or somebody's like, okay, you don't have to focus on the fact that he is a black man, except for
Meet Dave came on last night. It's so funny that you
yeah.
mentioned that. God, that horrible ass movie.
I think I seen that once. I remember the hype around how horrible it was so huge.
It's
That like
Norbert
clouded
level
everything.
horrible.
Yeah, that's one of those things. It was like there was a string of those movies. Was it Meet Dave? Then there was
Haunted
the
House.
Haunted Mansion and Norbert. I feel like those were very close to each other, but maybe it's just that my memory is clouded by like just the badness. I've still never seen the Haunted Mansion. I was like,
No, no,
because
lots of people haven't.
I think
I'm
it
sure.
was I think it's on Netflix, and I was skimming through like over the holiday, like what's something we can watch, and like my wife was like, kept hearing how bad this was. It can't be that bad. People were just hating, and then I went to the trailer of it on YouTube, and we were like, oh yeah, that's bad.
And it's based out of like a Disney ride,
Yes,
right?
but
Haunted Mansion.
yeah, it was part of that. Like Disney, it's funny for a
Because
company
Pirates
that's
of the Caribbean was a success,
yeah,
and then they
it's like
started
oh
making
we can turn
movies.
this ride into a movie. Let's do it again. It's like for a company that's like built on imagination, they have some of the least creative like ideas of like any movie producers out there. It's just like, oh, let's remake this thing into another thing and just cash in off of it. So that was one of those things like, okay, Pirates of the Caribbean went from being a ride to a like $1 billion franchise. We can do this again. And they were not successful at that. I don't know how
No,
that movie fell apart, but it clearly fell apart. Just based on the trailer alone. I don't know what else happened with that though.
I want my Teacups movie.
Yeah, it's a Small World and the Teacups movie. The like it's a Small World could actually be pretty good if they do it right. But
The song they would have to make the song less annoying and repetitive.
well, no, I predict the opposite. I feel like this is gonna go along the route of like the Ghostbusters theme, where it's gonna be a Fall Out Boy remake of "It's a Small World After All." Uh,
Oh,
yeah. So,
Ghostbusters movie discounted in the discount bin at Best Buy.
of course, a movie that I saw that another thing I saw on Netflix recently. I had heard about this movie, but I had never seen it until it popped up on Netflix, and I watched it yesterday. Actually, was The Babadook. Have you actually seen that movie?
Yeah, I heard great things about it. It's a
Yeah,
horror movie.
yeah,
It's
it's
on
really
my
good.
list. It's on my queue.
It's really good, and it was one of those movies where if I watched it in late at night, then I would have some trouble sleeping. But I think I've come up with a new angle as far as like I think my tradition at home is going to be like we watch horror movies on Saturday mornings now because
What?
it was like the perfect time to watch it like because we got into it like we turn all the
No more
lights off.
cartoons.
Yeah, we turn off the lights and everything, and like the movie's very scary, but then it's like, oh, it's daytime. Okay, nothing's gonna jump out and kill us, so we can go on about our day. it's just, it's just a
They're
nice
not
way to,
real, guys. It's just a
hey,
movie.
those ideas get in your head. I mean, that the Babadook, you should check it out because that's
Well,
that's
you're making me
definitely interesting.
not want to.
I mean, just keep the lights on. If you're watching it, you still have enough time. As of the time we're recording this, we're recording pretty early. So if you watch it right after this podcast, you'll be all right. And you just go outside and remember that it can't get you yet.
Are you a fan of any of the Underworld movies starring Kate Beckinsale? Have you seen any of them?
I
Because
think I've
there's a new
only
one that
seen the
came out.
first one, and then like that was one of those franchises where it was like think I remember watching the first one and liking it, but then like I knew even from the first sequel that was like, oh, this is how they're going with this like straight to DVD quality sequels. It's like, oh, this is one of those franchises they're just gonna try to wring it dry, and then for some reason I just never came back to.
I would get them confused with the Resident Evil movies
Yeah,
with
they've
Mila
gone along that
Jovovich
same path. Like,
concurrently, kind of.
yeah, I the only thing I know about this recent one is that it was delayed because someone had a like a really bad accident on set, and they ended up,
Mm.
I think they lost an arm, so that's was the delay in this one. I think it was one of the stunt people, so that's so
Did
that
that stunt person take their arm and post it on Instagram and
I
make an
don't think
account?
they have yet, but
Oh, okay.
uh, by the time we post this podcast, there may be an account called One Hand Clapping. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think that what the two franchises Resident Evil and Underworld have in common is like aren't they like the stars are married to the directors? I think right. Like Mila Jovovich is married to the director of the Resident
That's
Evil movies, and
interesting.
Kate Beckinsale is married to the director of the
When you think
Underworld.
about like how lazily put together the sequels are, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like oh, this is a I wouldn't even say a passion project. It's a vanity project for
Yeah,
someone's trophy wife. It's just like that's not what these franchises should be. They should be exciting, like big budget summer blockbusters, but they've
I don't
just
ever hear anyone
turned into
excited about
nothing.
either of these movies. Like, oh, the new Resident Evil
But
movie or
like
the
the
new
first ones of
Underworld.
each franchise, they were like, oh, this can be really great because they're both. I don't know if Underworld is that connected to any kind of video game. It seems like video
Yeah,
game type of story, but I know Resident Evil is like a big video game, and this should be a big franchise because like there's one of the big things that gamers have problems with. Like there are no really great movies based on video game franchises, so that was one of the ones
or vice
we could have
versa.
had hope for. And it's like they're always like I feel like there's actually a lot of these now that I think about it. I mean, not a lot of the ones with sequels, but even Silent Hill uh, was a popular game, and I really liked the first movie. And I know they did a second one, but I have no idea. Like, it got no promotion or anything like that. So it seems like a weird formula that's happening with these type
Hey,
of
the
horror games.
Assassin's Creed movie has like Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard, but it's a
It does not look
sucking.
good.
Yeah, exactly, bombing at the box office.
Yeah.
I've I think like on my Xbox One there was like a free Assassin's Creed game that I only played like once, and I've never played it
Yeah,
again.
I think I played it. I got it free with one of the games with gold or whatever, and I played it for I don't know, maybe an hour, hour and a
Was
half.
it the one where you're like swimming at sea at night and like these ships are like bombing at each other and you have
No,
to like
actually, this one was like I don't know. The aesthetic was like I don't know if it was like France or somewhere, but it looks the scenery was very similar to what they're showing in the movie, at least for the trailer, where you're running around, you're climbing on buildings, diving off into like hay
oh
bales.
okay, this is different.
So it was like interesting as far as the gameplay was concerned, but it still got into that trap of some games where it's like, okay, you have to do this mission, and if you don't finish this, you can't continue. It's just like I forgot what the mission was, but it's like I couldn't do it, and I just quit. It was like whatever. Like I hate the games where you have like it's supposed to be like this open world game, but then they funnel you into this one mission. Like, okay, you have to race this other person. If you don't beat them, you literally just have to do it over again until you get past this point. It's like this is not the game I signed up for. But,
See, that's never a
yeah,
problem with like the Grand Theft Auto games because
yeah,
I have Grand Theft Auto 5 and like I haven't even I just ignore all the missions and stuff of the game. I just spend the game just running over people and just
yeah. That's
shooting
the fun
cops and
part of it. I'm trying to
just
think.
being an asshole.
Trying to think. Was it? I haven't played 5, but it might be like 4. There's like this. It's like a race between you and some other car. It's just
Yeah, I
like
do
I
that. Those
I
are fun.
completely gave up on that part of it. But yeah, but that's
Um,
gamer talk.
yeah. So, is there anything else that you've been even watched? Because I know like some shows have come back this week after the Christmas break. I know that Blind Spot is back. Do you watch that
I have
show at
not
all?
checked that show out at all. That's one of those
It's a
shows where it's just
procedural.
like this seems like an idea for a movie, but got turned into a show, but like it doesn't have much legs because
200 episodes or whatever.
yeah, but it's like okay, there's only so much space on the human body, so when they go through all of these different mysterious tattoos that this woman has, where do they go after that?
The premise of the show was interesting, but it was kind of unfortunate that it basically just turned into this like, crime of the week thing, where they just
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I feel like that was baked into the premise because it's like, oh, let's look at this tattoo and let's look at this one, and now we'll solve
But
this
where did
mystery.
she like come from? Like she just appeared like in the middle of Times Square, like naked in this duffel bag or whatever.
Like the Terminator.
Like that
I
could have
don't
been
know.
like a really interesting place to go. Like where does she come from? Like you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I did. That's one of those shows that just from the premise, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be watching this show.
Yeah.
I felt like it looked thin from the beginning, and then it's proving to not be anything I'm interested in. Like one show that I thought was like that, but it's been intriguing me from trailers since it started was the Blacklist. I was like, oh, this looks like one of those thin procedurals, but like each new preview for an episode I see is like, maybe I will watch this show. And then the next
Yeah,
preview I was like, nah, I'm not. Then I was like,
I heard that it was like it was pretty good the first season, but it kind of tailed off from that. I don't know if you still watch it or not.
no, I haven't checked it out at all. It's just that from the different commercials I see for it, it's like, oh, maybe I'll try it. Maybe I won't.
James Spader. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people compared that to his Ultron character. It's like, oh, he's just doing his character on the Blacklist. I was like, oh, really? Maybe I will check this out. 'Cause I'm a fan of Ultron. Some people aren't, but I really liked Ultron. Um,
So yeah, none of the DC shows are back yet. Trying to think, what did I watch this week? I think Gotham. I don't even watch Gotham anymore. Have you anything interesting you've been watching on TV?
I feel like this week has been. I've been just waiting for stuff to come back. One thing new that has started that I've been watching is Celebrity Big Brother.
Who's on Celebrity Big Brother? This is news to me.
It,
I'm sure this will make me watch it if my favorite celebrity is on there.
yeah, if your favorite celebrity is Spencer Pratt or Heidi Montag or
Ooh,
Heidi Pratt,
absolutely not.
or what about Ray J?
Nope.
Yeah. Anybody else I mention after this, you won't
These aren't
recognize it.
celebrities.
That's the problem, though, is that anytime you put celebrity in the title of your show or stars, to some extent, you're going to run into that whole
It's
issue of
like
like, are they really?
these people were like on celebrity or on reality shows from like a decade ago.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Ray J is currently on a reality show. He's on Love and Hip Hop now, which is like a built-in like has been hip hop R&B reality show. Um, but yeah, everybody else you wouldn't recognize because they're all like British or from the UK. So
Is this on the UK? This is
yeah,
broadcasted on the.
because
Okay, that's what I thought.
there's no American Celebrity Big
That's what I
Brother.
thought.
So they call it Celebrity Big Brother, but it's Big Brother UK with
Yeah, yeah.
celebrities on it. So that's what I'm watching currently. It's an interesting show, even when like you don't know the people, because like I like Big Brother just in general, just to, like to see like the mind games that the producers play on the people in the house and the competitions they have. The UK Big Brother isn't so much with the competitions; it's just like a straight up
And,
popularity
and
contest.
it has nudity, right?
Yeah, that's the cool thing about the UK Big Brother, and that's the funny thing about it is like there's no like, I mean there might be, but there's
Broadcast.
yeah, but there's no real like legal way to watch it in America. So I watch it on YouTube because there's a lot of people who post it on YouTube. So it's weird how they're posting an episode that may have nudity in it, but like it doesn't get caught by YouTube necessarily, and I should probably not
There
alert
are like they have
YouTube
like
to
age
this fact.
restriction warnings and stuff on YouTube. I think for certain videos.
They have age restriction
Yeah.
warnings, but that's when they're like when the creator is actually posting it. This is somebody just like posting something after. It's like if somebody posted an episode of The Sopranos on YouTube. It's just like, oh, like
Yeah.
this is something I don't
Fuck
own, and
HBO.
I'm not putting a disclaimer up or anything like that. So that's it's interesting how that works because the show also has an after show, and like
Yeah, yeah.
people can call in. It's called Big Brother's Bit on the Side, and like I've watched that in the past, and I've heard like people from America call in, and like the host asked this one American caller like, "How do you watch our show?" And they were like, "On the internet," and it's like, well,
Yeah,
it's
be
admitted
honest.
to pirating their show as you call into it. So that's a
Hey,
funny,
more viewers, better.
yeah. But generally, this version of Big Brother, the UK version, is like a popularity contest. But they have shows every day, so it's like uh, you can see like their lives and how these different people from different areas are
They're sad,
interacting.
sad lives.
Yeah, they talk about their past drug use, and they out other people that they've been involved with. Because that's one interesting thing with the UK Big Brother, which makes them, I guess, slightly less pathetic than some other celebrity reality shows, is that like there does seem to be a theme sometimes. It's like these people are all coming there for like some kind of redemption, because it's not like, at least like with Dancing with the Stars, it's just like, okay, we got this
Yeah,
athlete, we got this person, we just got whoever we could grab. But they always have like, they do their intro videos when they come there, and they've always had like some kind of scandal, and they always talk about what their scandal is, and like, oh, I'm trying to change the public perception of me with this
so they're all just
show.
there to jumpstart their careers, pretty much.
Yeah, so it's interesting that it's kind of like, it makes it seem like the show is being more selective as far as like, okay, we picked all of these people who have these like controversial pasts. So that's an interesting angle. So it seems slightly less pathetic. I'll say that.
Slightly, but
Yeah,
not enough for me to watch.
yeah, but an interesting dynamic on there is that along with Ray J on there, they have a person that he was involved with before. I guess he's currently married, but had the person he was involved with. Well, they say they weren't together, but there was some controversy about if they were like hooking up or whether when Ray J was with Whitney Houston right before she died, and this person's Whitney Houston punched her 2 days before she dies. A lot of people are blaming her for, like, I guess, being involved with Whitney's death or just having an issue with her around that same time. So that's an interesting thing, and they're kind of arguing about that in the house and the fallout of that. So,
remember when television was mostly scripted?
Yeah, it was
with actors, and
That's the thing, though. It's like there was a certain point where it's like there was better quality as far as like the production overall, but I feel like it wasn't necessarily the golden age of television because there was still a lot of just like stupid like sitcoms, as well. So it's like we have like some of the heights of quality in television right now, but also some of the lowest lows we've ever seen in TV.
And most of the good stuff is on streaming or premium cable or basic cable.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I guess the way they fill out their broadcasting schedules by doing these reality shows where the cost is low, but I guess they can profit from them, and they use those profits to fund some of their better, more scripted productions. Maybe.
I don't believe that. Where are these better scripted productions?
I mean, I feel like maybe Comic Book Man on AMC is paying for Walking Dead, even though I don't think Comic Book Man is bringing in much profit. But
yeah, I think The Walking Dead is paying for.
It's paying for
whatever.
Everything else.
Exactly.
I guess Walking Dead is paying for *Halt and Catch Fire* because nobody's watching that show.
You gonna watch the Golden Globes tonight?
I don't plan on it.
Jimmy Fallon is hosting, your favorite talk show host.
You know my favorite. I like Jimmy Fallon. I don't like some of the hate that Jimmy Fallon gets. See, like
I find him to be very sort of like just not gonna rock the boat. He's basically just gonna do whatever NBC tells him.
Yeah, he's a very person.
Just be a salesman.
But that's the problem, though, is I don't feel like that is like him.
I want to be
being a corporate shill in the sense that he
is a corporate shill.
I mean, that's the position he's playing, but I think that's also who he is. Like, I don't think he would want to do like a hard-hitting interview with Donald Trump or anything like that.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be a hard-hitting. You just basically have to like ask like the questions that like people will want to ask Donald Trump if they're interviewing him. Like you don't have to like necessarily like dig deep and sort of like go after him, but definitely just ask the question that people want to have asked.
Yeah, but
like why like if you had Donald Trump on like this podcast or whatever, like what kind of questions would you want to ask him?
Well, I would ask him like, who are you really? Because like you've had every position on every issue.
Yeah. See, that wasn't that hard to ask.
Who you are as a president. I mean,
instead of can I touch your hair or tussle your hair or whatever the hell.
Yeah, but I wouldn't ask anybody that question.
Exactly. Jimmy did.
Yeah, but that's the problem is that I mean, I give Jimmy a pass because I feel like that would be a drastic change in tone if he just decided to switch into that mode. It's like I feel like there's other shows for that. So like he can't be everything
it's not
to
the
every
Tonight
audience member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I guess I respect that he's gonna do his thing and he's gonna have a show his way, which is why I don't watch it. I watch another show.
Yeah, the thing is like I enjoy like the fun aspect of Jimmy Fallon's show. So depending on the guest, I'll watch them play like charades or whatever with the guests. And if I want to see a harder, more intense interview, I'll watch like Daily Show or I'll watch Samantha Bee give some biting commentary. It's like I don't want that from Jimmy Fallon because like I wouldn't even feel like it's as credible coming from Jimmy Fallon if he just decided to switch into that mode. So like he's being him.
Those harder, more intense like interviews, like they can be funny. I mean,
yeah,
Jon
Trevor
Stewart
Noah found a way to do it.
And Stephen Colbert. they do it all in Conan, like in Letterman even before him. They did it all the time. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a really like intense investigative interview or anything like that. But
Yeah, I
that's
feel
who he
like
is.
if you had that middle balance where you could do both, it's good. But some people are just like way at the opposite ends of the spectrum. I guess Jimmy's just at that one end.
Yeah.
He's he's the fun nighttime host, whereas I could see like the person I usually take the opposite stance on is some other people's like Jimmy Kimmel, which I feel like he's completely manufactured, even though people don't necessarily look at him that way. It's like
Really?
yeah, because I feel like with Jimmy Fallon's show is like he's bringing his energy and pulling that out of other people. I feel like Jimmy Kimmel is using star power specifically to bring the interest to his show. I
Sure.
feel like
Okay.
he
I
doesn't
guess I
bring
can.
the excitement. He just brings the names. He's focused on the 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 billboard, like this is what's bringing you in. Like he always has those like all star specials or whatever, like either around the Super Bowl or around award
The
shows.
NBA post
Yeah, it's
shows.
like that's the hook for his
But
audience.
isn't
I
that
feel like Jimmy's the hook
isn't
for
that
his own audience.
isn't that the main reason why people watch any of these shows, to see who's being interviewed and who the musical guest is going to be?
I mean,
Would you
the
only watch Jimmy Fallon if it was just him doing his shtick? I absolutely would not.
I've a few episodes like I feel like he's in that same lane. He's not as good, but I feel like he's in a similar lane as Conan. It's like I could watch the first two segments of his show, like they'll do the monologue and then do like some little
The
comedy
best
bit.
part of Conan is him when he's not interviewing his guests. I would watch. That's the whole reason why I watch Conan, just for Conan and like all of the bits and everything. The
Yeah,
interviews are usually like the least interesting part of the show.
yeah, and that's how I feel about Jimmy. It's like you could see like the pandering and what some people call the fakeness in interviews, but I feel like on his own he's entertaining.
Yeah,
But
his
I mean,
interviews are
some
terrible. He's
yeah,
probably the worst interviewer on TV.
yeah, but I say like if his opening segment and like doing like the thank you letters or stuff like that, his own little bits, I enjoy those things. So I feel like he has his own unique hook. I mean, just some people like it, some people don't.
Would you watch this show less if the Roots weren't on it on as the band?
That definitely adds to it, and
Yes, it does.
but I don't feel like to me, I feel like that accentuates his show as far as
It gives him street cred,
yeah, it
definitely.
gives him street cred, and I feel like there's actually he actually clicks with them, where I feel like James Corden got Reggie Watts on his show.
Just to sort of compete against
Yes,
that
and I
sort
feel
of
like that
element.
is completely like
It's kind of cynical.
it's fake, and I feel like it's a disservice to Reggie Watts because I
He
feel like
should be doing. He should be hosting his own show.
yeah, he should be
Actually,
hosting his own show or like on Comedy Bang Bang, which is like where like everybody got to see him more in this type of role that they just stole him for James Corden show. Like I feel like that was more of a genuine bond and just like a weird like comic pairing, like Jimmy Fallon and the Roots. Like oh, they're actually people who wanted to work together, and James Corden was like, what would get ratings, and then that's what he did. So
so
I
what you're
guess it's
saying is that.
a
So what
matter
you're
of
saying is that
genuineness.
you're excited for La La Land and all the Golden Globes that it's nominated for tonight.
I'm not interested. I've never been a fan of musicals. A lot of people have said that this is a musical that will make non-musical fans cheer
it,
anyway,
it
but I never.
it's a musicals where the actors can't sing
Yeah,
well.
that's another thing I've heard a lot. It's like, well, I don't like musicals where people can sing, so this is still there's nothing really hooking me into this.
So
Um,
yeah,
so maybe I'll see the clips of the highlights from the Golden Globes, like when people are
as
host,
most people
like
will.
like that's why I said certain people have a specific lane that they should be in. Like Jimmy, I think he would be a good host in the sense that he like will keep the energy going and keep people interested in the show. But he's not one of those hosts like Chris Rock or even like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler will have those like biting jokes that you want to watch on YouTube the next day.
The actual memorable things that will get people talking is what you're saying.
Yeah, like he will be a good master of ceremonies, like conduct the show, but he won't be like the
He'll be
punch
forgettable.
at the beginning of the show. Yeah, so that's I'll see if there's any like YouTube montages of like memorable moments later in the week. So we'll see.
We shall see.
Yeah.
All right then. So that's yeah. That's yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else for this week. I don't remember anything memorable from wrestling. Do you?
The Luce, who's the character that the
La Luchadora.
La Luchadora, Becky Lynch was
Yeah.
originally the woman behind the mask, and then we find out that
It was Alexa Bliss and then somebody else.
who do you think it's? Do you think it's going to be Mickey James or?
Well, they did say that there was a dramatic skin tone change, and I wasn't paying attention to it, but Mickey James is more tan than Alexa Bliss, so
They're just going to
possibly
use
be.
like some like random local wrestlers until they're ready to reveal.
Yeah, because it definitely has not been Mickey James so far. Because like you would notice that butt. So,
yeah, yeah, chest, yeah.
yeah, that's what some people were saying. Like maybe it's Naomi. It's like no,
No.
you would know if it was Naomi under there.
Yeah, yes, you definitely was.
And I think she's injured anyway. But yeah, I don't think there was anything else like very interesting from the week of wrestling. But yeah, so if unless you have something else, we can wrap up for the week.
No, Dean Ambrose is won the IC title from the Miz,
Yeah,
and that was the only. There was a lot of smacking from Renee Young and Maurice.
Yeah, yeah, that it brings new meaning to the after show. Talking smack, they should just reference all the different smacks that have happened during the week.
I definitely enjoy watching SmackDown more than Raw. I will say that.
I'm still like
Raw
I
is
feel
just
like
a damn
the
cluttered
viewing-
mess.
Yeah, I feel like the viewing experience during SmackDown is smoother, but I still don't care about much that's going on, and that may be just me, but there's still a lot of people involved that I have not like latched onto as being like I care about this person. I still don't care about Baron Corbin. I don't care about Dolph Ziggler, whether he's a face or a heel. John Cena, I definitely will never care about anything he does.
What about
until he
AJ
retires.
Styles?
AJ Styles is great, but he is not fighting anybody I care about. So it's just like, if he loses this match, I'll be mad. But other
Do you
than
think,
that, I don't care about any of his competition.
Do you like the push that Baron Corbin's been getting?
I hate
like,
it
there's
because I don't like Baron Corbin. That's he's a boring character to me. So it's just like he's a young guy and he's new to the roster, but he doesn't seem new. He seems like
he's the winner
Kane's
of the inaugural
Jobber,
Andre the Giant
over the top battle royal match, like a match that should not be taking place. When they had a WrestleMania staple that was there to get a lot of wrestlers on the roster, which is basically what this is. Like, oh, you want a WrestleMania paycheck? We'll put you in this match. They had the Money in the Bank match for that, and that was a much better use of these lower card people. But then they decided to give that its own pay-per-view. But like, I don't care about it over the top battle royal. Like, if they did it like the Royal Rumble, where you did one at a time and you could actually see what was going on, that would be a more interesting match. But just like everybody in there looking like a big cluster is just not interesting. And the fact that he won that, I don't care about, because Big Show also won that. So you're in great company, sir.
Are you excited about Titus O'Neil trying to join New Day?
It was a funny segment. It was like better than anything Titus O'Neil did in the past like 3 years.
Yeah, they utilized him well, at least.
So hopefully, like, he actually has something to do in this coming new year, and I would like to see Darren Young come back from anger management or wherever the hell he was. But like they don't need to be involved with each other because they were terrible together. But I would like to see like more stuff done with them, like because they need interesting things on the roster. But uh, uh, that's about all I have to say about wrestling for this week.
Ditto.
So did you want to give out your details for people to contact you throughout the week?
Certainly. My Twitter and Facebook, you can find me at Anthony Hoffman on pretty much either. You can find me on Instagram at Tony Hoffman Chai. That's Chai spelled CHI, Tony Hoffman Chai.
All right. And I'm Zach Hughes. You can follow me on Twitter at Zach Hughes. I mean, actually, at Zach from Chicago. That's ZAC from Chicago. You can follow me on Facebook at Zach Hughes if you want. And I'm on YouTube at Zach Hughes, both spelled ZAC Hughes. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Frustrated Grad. You can find us on Facebook as well. Facebook.com/frustratedgrad. And we're on YouTube at youtube.com/frustratedgrads. You can listen to the audio version of this podcast if you want, because it's distinctly different from the video version, and you should check it out to see why. And that's on iTunes, Google Play Podcasts, and Stitcher. So that's it for this episode of the Frustrated Grad Podcast. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for listening. And that's all you get for today.
Bye.
All right, now this is bonus time. Bonus time.
You're the winner.
All right. What's the title for this episode gonna be?
We talked about Mariah Carey. We talked about Donald Trump. We talked about like Periscope and social media stuff. We talked about squirrels stealing candy.
Poop.
Poop. Always poop.
Yeah.
We talked about amputated limbs.
Yeah. Okay. What can we say as far as amputated feet?
Foot.
Foot in Mariah's foot in mouth. I'm trying to think what encapsulates this entire show. I feel like we've had like the most subjects of a lot of our shows.
Like fantastic. Joker Trump tweet.
Yeah, we touched on that. Let me see. Candy crazy squirrels. Girlfriend stabbed over chips. I forgot we talked about that too. We covered a lot of ground in this episode. Let me see.
Think of like any Mariah songs that we can.
Are there any songs by Mariah about saying goodbye? Because I feel like that could be a theme of what we talked about in this episode, like saying goodbye. We're saying goodbye to Obama. This lady said goodbye to her leg.
Dream lover.
Saying goodbye to your pants.
Goodbye to my pants.
Yeah, that could be a title right there. Saying goodbye to my pants, because there's a few different goodbyes in there, so that might work. What do you think?
Maybe I'm trying to search for
goodbye to my foot and goodbye to my pants and the foot that is in them. It's too long.
Always Be My Baby, One Sweet Day, Heartbreaker,
Leg Taker.
Leg Taker, Visions of Love, Visions of Pants.
Pantsless Visions of Love.
Dream Lover, Emotions.
That's the one that was the one where she completely lost track of her lip syncing track, I think. Emotions. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Let me see. No pants subway ride. Woman amputated. No pants. No feet. No service. Uh, no pants, no foot, no Obama. Mark Hamill. Trump is a joke. ... Yeah, how about no pants, no foot, no service?
Okay.
Okay. I'll just use that one for the sake of saving time. Alright, so that's going to be the title of this episode. So if you want to send us a tweet with the hashtag no pants, no feet, then send that to us throughout the weekend. And maybe after 10 of those tweets, you will receive a mystery prize. We'll see. All right.
Ooh.
That's it for the episode officially. Bonus time is over. So see ya later. And goodbye to everyone watching on Twitter/Periscope. Peace.
Bye bye.
All right. So I guess the Twitter people are getting an extra minute or so, but I'm going to save this, and I think we are done.